Kerbals jumping in space. One fell off and broke his face.
Hey, Internet, welcome back. Kerbal Space Program coming at you 2015. Represent. Number one in the hood, G.
What? Space hood?
Alright, so, it's been a little bit. It's been more than a little bit. So we talked about at the end of the last video, we're going to try and go back to the moon.
Oh, did we talk about that?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the thing we're gonna do. So
It must have been another Amanda.
It was Amanda from another time, another place. Yeah. But yeah, so I am building another station that's going to orbit the moon, and it's going to be our place where we drop Kerbals so that they can be dropped off by other vehicles that will then land them on the moon. It'll be a multi-phase approach.
Cool.
So this is our initial kind of hub platform.
Okay.
Which also has a little pod on the bottom, which is a 2-person capsule.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. Attaching life support systems and reaction controls and all that good stuff.
Gonna have house parties in space.
Yeah, space house parties.
Yes, in the space house. Sorry.
And then, fortunately, this all fits into a small fairing. Now I'm building this out with a mostly solid fuel rocket to save on money. To see if this is a better plan than the Condor vehicle, because that's a really major investment every time we use it, and we could also very well lose it every time we use it.
The risk is real. So
I realized I'm losing about 10,000 Spaceos every time I launch the Condor, even if I return it in 100% condition. So I'm trying to see if I can build a launch vehicle that costs about that much.
Okay.
Because if I can build one that I can just throw away that's less than that, then I'm saving money.
Yeah, then it's like whatever.
Yeah, that's just money.
Does that mean that you're just gonna retire the Condor?
We might bring it back. It's useful for heavy launch stuff, especially. So we'll bring it back in time as needed.
Okay.
But for simpler stuff, if I can just go with something that's mostly just... Because these solid fuel engines, like... each of these solid fuel... Like, the center engine there is about 1,200 Spaceos in total.
Man. Everybody's got money problems.
In fact, the fins I put on the side of it almost cost more than the vehicle itself. Which is really weird. I guess it makes sense because they're like, what?
Can't even escape currency even in space.
Nope. Money. It's what makes the world go around.
But what happens when you leave the world?
Well, you need money to leave the world. Once you leave the world, then money's got. I mean, what are you gonna trade it for? There are no stars in space. So we drop off our external boosters there.
Bye.
And we continue with our main engine, the KS125 something. That's actually modeled on this one. It's funny that the ones that are on the outside were modeled on the Space Shuttle solid rocket boosters, which is why they have the ridges on them, because the Space Shuttle solid rocket boosters were actually constructed of multiple different segments. And this one is also constructed like that because it's designed to look like this was part of the NASA ARM pack. The redirect mission pack, so that's designed to look like one of the solid rocket boosters in NASA's Space Launch System. And the Space Launch System solid rocket booster is in fact the same solid rocket booster from the Space Shuttle. It just they put another segment on, so there's more fuel, so it burns longer. And actually, while it seems like that may answer why they're in segments, the real reason that they're segmented like that is because they were constructed by Northrop Grumman, which is a company in Utah, I want to say.
Huh.
And so to get the solid rocket boosters to NASA, they had to put them on a train and then on a truck. And the thing is that each of these solid rocket boosters is like when you assemble them, they're 80 meters tall. So they have to be divided into segments so that you can put them on a vehicle to transport them.
Nah, just put the whole thing on a really, really long truck.
And you notice now, as I move the thing, we have some stowaways on board. Apparently, Jeb and Barlin couldn't wait for any testing to be completed before they wanted to go to the moon.
How did that happen?
I think it's well, I mean, out of characters because I put the crew module on, and the game automatically fills crew modules.
Puts a crew in it.
Yeah, if you don't. So I didn't notice that until after I'd launched. So hey, they're going to be our first people to land on the moon.
Okay.
So I unlock the large control, which gives us the large reaction control, and also the abort system, and better reaction wheels, and the Mark II lander can, and also the Panopticon module. Sweet. So now what I'm doing here is I'm constructing a colony module from the Umbra something package. I can't remember it, but I'll put a little title there.
Filled with ants for some reason.
What?
It's filled with ants for some reason.
It's just full of ants.
Yeah.
Now, how else will we know if they can sort tiny screws in space? So anyway, yeah. So this is a whole mod that adds all sorts of colonization stuff. Because it's all about constructing bases, and everything that you build is capable of sustaining itself for long durations of time.
Okay.
So this is an aeroponics module I'm launching, which has a storage part in the bottom, which I've added an inflatable greenhouse.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. So,
did you have to make that, or is that like a part that comes?
That's a part that comes with this module. So the thing is, the thing is, this mod has all of these modules, but all the modules require space, require like workspaces to function, and they all have to work together. So you have to connect all of them. So the agriculture module is the one that basically does life support, because that's what reprocesses your food. That's what reprocesses your oxygen. It probably reprocesses your water. I'm not sure. So launching of this.
What about your pee?
Well, that's part of your water.
Okay. Just double checking.
That's the thing. That's the thing they say on the station, is because of the water reprocessing facility. They say that the way they summarize it is it turns and then I do a little spin to blow away the fairing there. But the way they summarize the water recirculation is that today's coffee will become tomorrow's coffee.
Yeah, what was that thing I saw? I think it was like going around Facebook or something. So I only take stories like that with a grain of salt, but like about some dude that's got to drink his own reprocessed urine for like 7 months to prepare for space or something. I don't know.
I haven't heard about that, but I mean, the thing is, once you run it through all the processing systems, like the water you're drinking right now is like somebody else's pee, and probably contains like a couple molecules of like dinosaur feces somewhere in there. I mean, I know the water I'm drinking now is someone else's pee because I live in West Virginia. Yeah, but I mean, just in general, like, that's just how water works. And so but everybody kind of freaks out a little bit, because making it a reprocessing facility instead of like, it goes into a toilet, and then that goes into a river, and then that evaporates, and it eventually goes to a water reclaiming facility on Earth. But like, that's so many steps removed that we don't think about it. But in space, it's just like, yeah, you pee in the toilet, and it goes into the water reprocessing facility, and then you drink it. And like, if somebody has a thing, in fact, I mean, you can. It's a survival technique I learned in Boy Scouts, actually. Is
about drinking your own piss.
Not about drinking your own piss. You're never supposed to do that. But there is a way that you can make water. There's a way you can make water last longer. And basically, it requires a couple of things, and if you don't have these, there's probably another way you can do it. But the way that I was taught in Scouts to do it is so what I'm building well, I'll talk about that. But
okay.
what you do is you need a cup, you need a couple of things, you need some rocks or something to weigh a thing down. And you need a shovel, and you need Saran wrap. Okay. And put very simply, you dig a hole, you pee in it, you put the cup in there, then you put your Saran wrap down, you weight it down, and you put a lighter weight in the middle, just above your cup. And then once the sun comes, it makes all the water from your pee evaporate, that gathers on the saran wrap and it drips into the cup, and you now have steam distilled water.
Huh. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So you said. All right.
So,
can you do me a favor?
What?
Can you spell iCup for me?
I see you did there. So this thing I'm launching right now is a reusable lunar lander, which is different from other lunar landers we've done because I'm using a special rocket engine that because KSP Interstellar didn't update right, the engine looks super weird. So you'll notice that whenever you can see it, the engine is just kind of magically floating on top of the little struts.
Yeah.
And that's because it's supposed to be twice as big as it is.
Oh, all right.
Also, for some reason, there was a staging error there. And the vehicle decided to stage before it blew the fairings, so we might have some trouble bringing back. The Eagle 5.
That's what the Eagle 6 is for.
So here we go. So we're bringing it back, and everything looks okay on this front.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So yeah, coming in on target, we're putting up a spin so that re-entry heating doesn't get us too bad. But re-entry heating shouldn't be too bad because it's a suborbital flight. This thing was only going 1,000 meters per second instead of like 2,500, like the other ones are normally going. So it's still going fast, but it's not going as fast as it normally is. But then you notice that it deployed the parachutes while it was going super fast.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so the parachutes just burned up.
Oh!
And ripped off.
Is that what that... Oh.
Yeah, so you notice how all their icons are red?
Yeah!
Yeah, that means that all of them were destroyed. So I try and stop it with the paltry amount of fuel I have left, and there's just not enough, so whoops. Ooh. That's a 40,000 vehicle dump. That's another 40,000 pesos gone.
Oh, God! How are we gonna pay the rent?
So, because I have this special lander here, and you notice the super weird engines now. So these are aluminum hybrid engines, which a hybrid engine is a combination solid and liquid fuel engine.
Uh-huh.
So that's a solid fuel with a liquid oxidizer. So these look like solid rocket boosters because in essence they are. But they can be, but because of how the hybrid engine nature kind of works, you can actually throttle them. And then the other thing is they work with Interstellar. They're great for landing on the moon because their main source of fuel is aluminum, and then they have another oxidizing agent. And the surface of the moon is mostly aluminum, and it's mostly like aluminum and glass.
Huh.
So like it's aluminum and silicon dioxide. So you can get your oxidizer by performing a silicon electrolysis, separating the silicon from the oxygen through superheating and magnetic separation and whatever. So with a proper reprocessing facility, this will become we can use this indefinitely.
Awesome.
And then I brought it to the station via our space tug that we launched last time because this uses plasma engines that are super high efficiency, and I don't have to waste all of my currently precious aluminum fuel to try and get this thing to the station.
This is looking kind of weird.
It's looking kind of weird, and I realize it's because it doesn't have any reaction control thrusters, so I have to drive it entirely through its plasma thrusters.
Ooh.
Yeah, so eventually I'll probably retrofit it to have some reaction controls on it. So, whoops.
Ooh.
In the meantime, it's easy enough to attach by way of the I can make it move slowly enough that it's easy enough to attach by way of the plasma thrusters.
That plasma, well, I guess that's just
it's a bug.
Glitch. Yeah. I was gonna say it looks awful close to where it's not supposed to be.
So here's the refinery, which is way bigger than I thought it was going to be. Whoa. So I actually switched to a smaller inline refinery. Now, a thing I didn't realize, because I didn't read the description well enough, is that this refinery isn't actually going to do anything. Because this is just a refinery, it's not actually a mining unit like the big one is.
Then what's it do?
Well, the other one can mine. This one just refines all of the stuff faster. Because it's just a dedicated refinery. But yeah, I didn't realize that when I built this, so, whoops.
Well, is this like a waste?
I can make use of it because I can use it for other things. I can just plug it into a mining unit, and it can help refine things faster. Because the refining process takes longer than the mining process.
It's definitely not the money you wanted to spend right now.
It's definitely not the money I wanted to spend right now. I won't discover that for a while.
So in the canon, basically someone came to Kerbal Space Program's desk with a wild and crazy idea, and maybe they fudged a little bit of the data, but you should totally buy my little refinery. You should totally do this, and yeah, you should totally do this, and everybody neglected to notice how it didn't have any means to actually, like, drill into the surface. No one read a thing. They offered free donuts and pins.
It was passed immediately. The bill was passed immediately through the Kerbal government. Nobody actually read the bill. They accidentally legalized weed, and they're gonna have to try and figure out how to fix that. Some people are saying just to leave it, but they're also saying, you know, that also means that it legalizes angel dust, so we should probably fix that. We'll legalize it eventually.
Either way, you can't serve gays cake in space.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, there's no space weddings. There's no space bakeries even.
There's no space cake.
There's no yeah.
Space even, gays though, it's still, jury's still out on that.
Yeah, it's a very Kerbal Clinton put into effect an act that just prevented us from talking about the issue for a while. I mean, one of the things that's actually one of the other things that NASA has in mind. That you remember a lot of people talking about mining asteroids, and like there's like people have been saying like, oh, there's trillions of dollars of gold in asteroids if we can just send a thing out to get it. And I think that everybody's neglected to mention is that if you mine $1 trillion of gold and send it to Earth, then it's worthless because you've just reduced the scarcity of gold. On the plus side, you've reduced the scarcity of gold, so way to go there. Gold is super cheap now. But one of the other things is the thing that's been said is that mining asteroids is actually a super useful venture because in spite of the economy destabilizing things of like mining precious metals, one of the things that is present in a lot of asteroids is water, which is the single most component in space.
Well, ice, right?
Yeah, in the form of ice. And that's one of the things is like we're trying to look into in situ refinery processes or in situ refinement of various of water and other things.
There's no way that's gonna fit.
Because that way we don't have to go with all the fuel we're ever going to need. We can like stop off somewhere.
That ain't gonna fit.
What?
It's not gonna fit.
Oh, it's gonna fit.
Doesn't look like it's gonna fit. Look like it's gonna
fit
bump.
Fine.
It's gonna bump into something.
Be good. Trust me. Just trust me.
Alright, I do.
Just trust me.
But I've trusted you in the past.
But yeah, so water's one of the most useful things in space because you can drink it. Obviously, you can drink it, and that lets you live. You can split it with electrolysis and turn it into hydrogen and oxygen, which you can use to do two things. You can split it into hydrogen and oxygen. You can breathe oxygen, and if you take the hydrogen and combine it with the oxygen, boom, you have rocket fuel. So this is I'm crashing down the final ascent stage from that booster.
Okay.
And I figured, that's fun, probably. That's what people say.
Yeah, all the people say it. Leave a comment about how fun it is.
Leave a comment. If you like fun, like, comment, and subscribe. But yeah, but similar things are also in place on the moon because there's a lot of people who want to actually mine the moon as well because the moon's surface is full of glass and aluminum, and there's reports that the moon is also apparently full of helium-3, which is an isotope of helium that has an atomic mass of 3 instead of 2, and is also really I think is supposed to be very useful for fusion reactors.
I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Which seems like not the best way to do it because most of the time when you do fusion, so I also realized I have a single solid rocket booster that's probably pretty useful that only costs 10,000 credits. So instead of having to build this whole huge chain, I could just build this one that has like thrust vectoring and stuff, which all the other ones don't have. So it's a lot more maneuverable. So that really makes things a lot easier. So we're launching another moon lander thing just in case we don't have enough fuel in the first one, because the only way I have to actually launch a thing full of fuel for these landers is to just launch another one of them, because the only thing that holds the fuel is the engines. I'm making really good use of all the infernal robotic stuff there too. Even if you notice that stuff kind of waves around like a weird little spaghetti noodle. Because there's no structure holding it together. So we're able to put this thing in orbit easily because these engines have about 4,500 meters per second of delta V. So we're able to get into orbit, and then we send the space tug back to retrieve all of our stuff. But yeah, fusion reactors on Earth actually use deuterium and tritium, which are isotopes of hydrogen. Because if you have a heavier and less stable version of hydrogen, it's just a lot easier to mess with. It starts the fusion process a lot more simply.
Again, I'm just gonna take your word for it because I trust you. I won't be. You know, I realize in these 20-some episodes, I'm never gonna be able to fact check you on anything. You could literally lie to me.
I mean, you could. There's that one episode where you went to Wikipedia.
That doesn't count.
So, but it's actually interesting how I had done some reading on how fusion reactors work on Earth because I thought they were all just like the sun. Because that's the only example of a fusion reactor I have.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you can't make things like the sun because the sun does fusion just by being so massive that everything just fuses together. The
sun does fusion by its own little self, by existing. Your space station looks super weird right now.
Yeah, I built it in like I didn't want to build it in a big chain because I wanted it to be somewhat maneuverable. So instead I built it like a big wheel. I actually could have attached more nodes to it.
Really?
Yeah, because you see those, I have 2 more docking ports, and I had a plan to turn the engine sideways so I could shoot so I could burn my engines between the different modules. So there we go. That was a burn to the moon that took about 30 minutes to do.
All right.
Because these engines, they're higher power than the plasma engines we used to have, but they're still like I'm using a 30 kilonewton engine to propel a thing that is easily like 50 tons. Probably more than that even. In fact, I could say each of those solid rocket engines I have weighs 17.5 tons, and I have 4 of them on this.
Wow, it looks like a pots and pans robot, honestly, like it.
Beep boop. I am Moonlander. So there we go, we're decelerating into a stable 100-kilometer orbit around the moon, with Kerbal rising over the background.
It's lovely.
And we
decouple the space whales.
Yep, the space whales accompany us as we begin to assemble our lunar lander. Or a mooner lander. What the hell is loon?
What is a loon?
What even is a loon?
I think that's actually the noise that we're hearing right now in the music.
Perhaps.
Boom.
And they just kind of bump together, and there we go. And I used the mapping software to, because I want to try and land somewhere where I didn't go last time, because I realized there's a bunch more biomes on the moon that I haven't explored. There's a bunch of craters I've never checked out. So you notice how much power is behind these engines, because when I kick the engines off, suddenly the whole thing just, like, shakes like crazy. You'll see it again here.
Ugh. Does not look stable.
Yeah,
I
well,
didn't plan on landing that. I guess it's got little landing feet.
Yeah, I mean the station on the bottom's designed to land, so and the you know, it's everything weighs a lot less on the moon. So I just have to touch down gently so I don't destroy everything.
Gently. Easy.
Easy does it. And
just
there we go.
Come in slowly.
Hold on loosely. Don't let go. There we go. We're coming in. We're about 500 meters from the ground. Coming in at 20 meters per second. Slowing it. Alright, under 100 meters. Slowing to 5 meters per second. 1 meter per second. And there we go.
I'm gonna go make a sandwich.
And it bounced.
Oh, well, alright.
And we take the lander off because I said before, I was hoping we could process the fuel. I found out that the thing I have attached to it is not a mining unit, it is only a refinery. So we still have enough to actually send the lander back and to send the lander there and back again. You can see how this thing is like a weird
wow.
a weird arcade grabber claw thing.
It's a robotic space spider.
Beep boop. Yeah, I could call it the, I don't know, the moon spider or something.
The moon spider. Only spell spider with a Y.
Yeah, like a sports car.
Yeah!
There we go. We get it into an orbit where it'll eventually... So, we make our first mission because we took on a contract to put a flag on the moon.
Oh, did we not do that yet?
I mean, we've done it, but the game didn't count it because we did it before we took on the contract.
Sweet. Sweet! God damn you. I'm surprised you didn't put John Madden.
I tried to, but I accidentally hit return, and it closed the top.
Whoa!
So this is our inflator. This is our inflatable greenhouse.
I like how it was on his head there for a second.
Yeah, he ended up setting it. He didn't realize how fast it would inflate. So there we go. We have our agriculture unit set up, and the first stage of our moon base is complete.
That's beautiful. Oh.
And we will meet up with you next time, Internet.
Next time.
Good night.
Good night.